studies texts in particular have been described as dull, disjointed, and sanitized that they lack message or meaning. Hi everyone, I am Rodalyn Salvalion Tusoy, with me, Sandro Ribaggio, and we are going to present to you the literature and content-based teaching in social studies. This criticism fits with our own experience as teachers and learners. It is observed that students rarely curl up in bed at night with a good textbook. As a result, researchers and educators have been called for the inclusion of literature as part of the instructional program in social studies. Teaching social studies with the integration of literature, generally known literature-based instruction, could make a social studies class a new and memorable paradigm of teaching learning experience. By the way, what is literature?
Literature is a body of Literature is a body of written words related by subject matter by language or place of origin. For example, like Philippine literature, or by prevailing cultural standard of merit. In the latter sense, literature is taken to include oral, dramatic, and broadcast composition that may have been published in written form but which have been preserved. The use of children's literature to assist in the teaching of social studies content has a long established history. Social studies method books have advocated the use of books to supplement textbooks for over 40 years. In the recent years, some teachers and school districts in the United States even have adopted using children's literature as the primary resource in the teaching of social studies content. This proclivity for educators to exhibit confidence in children's literature to teach social studies might be associated with the following observation. 1. The persistent criticism of social studies textbooks, which traditionally have accounted for the bulk of social studies instruction. Social studies textbooks have been characterized as poorly organized and written, encyclopedic and overwhelming, and with little or no consideration of student interest. Another factors that contribute to the increased use of children's literature to teach social studies is the significant rise in the amount, quality, and variety of interesting children's literature available in the social studies classroom. This trend have provided more incentives for teachers who recognize the advantages of teaching social studies through children's literature. The researchers also point out that the additional benefits of integrating literature in social studies, which include increasing reading vocabulary, providing a catalyst for critical thinking, and increasing students' involvement in the format that is more interesting and often more up to date than many classroom textbooks. Moreover, the upper elementary levels children's literature can be used to increase motivation, aid aesthetic appreciation, and provide easier and more interesting reading material for less able readers. Literature-based instruction, as integrated in social studies, is anchored on the three theoretical perspective associated with meanings and literary education. The, moder- the modernist perspective is based on the belief that meanings reside in the text. Thus, literature is conceptualized as an orchestrated set of transportable cognitive processes that learners acquire through formal instruction and use to uncover the meaning as applied in the concept of social studies. In contrast, the transactional perspective is based on the belief that meaning is constructive in the transaction between learner and text. Learners bring their prior knowledge or schema and experiences to bear on the integration of the literature, on the teaching of social studies, and meaning on constructed during the transaction between learner and the text. Both text and learner are vitally important. Finally, a critical perspective focuses on the ways that literature are constructed in social, political, and historical contexts, and on the ways in which literature positions learners and texts and endorse particular interpretation. Literature are integrated in social studies instruction. It seems as a social practice for constructing meaning that cannot be separated from the cultural, historical, and political context in which it occurs. How to integrate literature in social studies? Ms. Rowland will tell you more about the data.
On the integration of literature in social studies, Smith and Johnson suggest that literature can become the lens through which content is viewed. This lens holds the young reader's attention while connecting content with a variety of human experiences. Indeed, as it does for many adults, fiction can bring historical figures alive for young people and allow them to explore the reality of life, culture, and society in a given historical period. In addition, the use of literature in social studies may help nurture children's creativity and imaginations, leading to higher level thinking skills. Jarl Malik states, literature and literary material should play an important part in social studies instruction because they convey so well the affective dimension of human experience. The realism achieved through vivid portrayals in works of literature stirs the imagination of the young readers and helps develop a feeling for and identification with the topic being studied. Likewise, Savage and Savage urge educators to integrate literature in the middle school social studies curriculum, making it more relevant and meaningful for students. On the other hand, Nelson states that the use of children's literature is a teaching method which involves children's literature and is consistent with research findings on the history education of elementary school students in a history fair. A 7-week created by a 5th grade reader to teach research skills. The history fair illustrates the connection between historical fiction and non-fiction and challenges students to demonstrate their learning in a public forum as they become expert on the topic that interests them. Amy von Hecking, in her teaching social studies with historical fiction, enumerated the following principles on what literature can do in social studies instruction. She states that by including historical fiction in social studies, teacher can provide a greater variety of books for children. This simply makes sense since not all the children in the classroom are reading at the same level. The teaching of history includes bringing children to an understanding of many complex concepts: change, community, tradition, and class, to name a few. Many writers have recognized the stories clarify these concepts for children because they personalize them. They provide a relevant and meaningful context that children can identify with. The author of historical fiction used language and images evocatively to transport children into different times and places. Studies have also found that elementary school students' interest in history and their retention of historical information increased when their history instruction included children's literature. Reading stories can heighten children's emotional sensitivity. Their moral and social awareness grow when they consider reason for people's behavior in other times, other places, or specific situations. Most children do not have sufficient life experience to imagine things at alone. Stories provide the insider's perspective that allows children to connect with people in other times and places and come to a deeper understanding of other experiences. In 2002 Basic Education Curriculum and Development in the Department of Education suggests some mode of integrative teaching. One is the content-based instruction. It is the integration of content learning with language teaching aims. It refers to the concurrent study of language and subject matter, with the form and sequence of language presentation dictated by content material. The language curriculum is centered on the academic needs and interests of the learner and across the barrier between the subject matter courses. This approach aims to develop the learner's academic language skills. Example is Filipino and Social Studies. A Filipino in a lesson in Filipino designed to develop skills in identifying keywords in a given text uses social studies content, essay, article such as Batas but Militar sa Pilipinas or a related topic under the unit on pamahalaan at batas. The social studies content is used to develop the language skills. Hiking also elucidated some important caution or concern have been raised about the use of the fictional, historical fiction and other form literature in social studies instruction. Other researchers note that children's literature can contribute to a more complete understanding of critical social studies concepts, help foster critical thinking and problem-solving skills, enable young readers to make important links between past and present events, and assist students to better visualize the past. Children literature can motivate students in their grasp of the key geographic and economic ideas and promote increased overall competence. Yet, another essential component of the social studies is the appreciation of the social and cultural differences. Here again, children's literature can be a powerful tool in assisting young readers to grasp multicultural concepts. Children reading multicultural trade books have demonstrated both greater social sensitivity and enhanced ability to view issues through multiple perspectives. Students are exposed to wider insights into new worlds, ideas, and cultures that more traditional media provides. Children reading multicultural literature demonstrate increased social sensitivity, a greater recognition of people's similarities and differences, and by doing so, have a better understanding of themselves. We provided here the list of available lesson plan and videos. Now, we will show you a video by Jennifer Rico that utilized the integration of a story of a Lion King to the topic of social studies, government in particular.
I'm sure that many of you are familiar with the movie The Lion King. Today, we are going to talk about different kinds of governments that can be seen in the world. Does anybody know what a government is? A government is a person or group of people in charge of running a country or other place. They have to make laws and make sure that everything
Here are the sample lesson plan with activities using the integration of literature in social studies. Please check it out.
It is of above context that we believe on the effectiveness of literature and content-based method in teaching of social studies to bring about positive learning goals and objectives. Again, I am Rodeline Goloran Salvalion Tusoy. With me, Sanjo Ribaggio. Thank you for listening and God bless.